All right, this is Reflective Practice Individual Journal number 3. Really interesting case about the Lake Elsinore threat to the school. What really interested me was the response from parents, from the school itself, from law enforcement. My school went through something similar last year. We received an email that was anonymous, no names, no name of the school, no naming any students, pretty much just stating something along the lines of, you should have protected me when you had the chance. You let this happen to me. You'll see what happens when school starts on like Tuesday or something like that. And again, didn't name any students, name anything really. It just was an email from an anonymous address that the school had never seen before. The school went on lockdown immediately. The PA was announced, we're going into lockdown. This is not a drill. Law enforcement was contacted immediately. Thankfully, that year we had just developed a communication plan with templates for what to send to parents via our phone messaging and our social media in the case of crises and events like this. So we were able to blast that out after we contacted school police, after we locked down the school, made sure both stories were secure, our campus was locked. It ended up being that this email was a mass email sent to hundreds of schools throughout the nation from, I think from what I recall, it's some anonymous group, hacker group in Europe actually. Something similar had happened in the UK and caused hundreds of schools to shut down too. But of course we didn't know that at the time. Local law enforcement actually had to correspond with the FBI to confirm that. But because schools that same day had received the same message verbatim, they were able to tell us within, I think, half an hour. But man, were those 30 minutes scary as hell for the school, for our students, for our parents. Of course, parents started calling, even though when they received that message. But I do credit that message with at least informing them so that not millions, hundreds of parents didn't rush to the school because those messages had been pre-written to state, we are in a lockdown situation, law enforcement is involved. Please do not come to the school. You will not be granted access due to the safety concern until we verify the situation. And it looks like this Lake Elsinore school did not have anything like that. I understand where the principal's coming from, saying that they don't want to panic parents unnecessarily and they want to get the full details of the case. But at the same time, in today's day and age, you're not going to be able to control that genie once it's out of the bottle. The minute one student hears that there's a potential threat and tells their parent, it's going to be a massive game of telephone. And as a school leader, as a school employee, you want to be able to control the information and communication that's sent out in order to make sure it's accurate, it is safe, and that it communicates what you want to communicate. Otherwise, you have parents, students, community members, third-party whispers, rumors that are control the narrative, which leads to even more panic, I feel like. I think in the situation with the Lake Elsinore school, if it happened over the weekend and parents were notifying the police should have some type of school contact in order to reach out and find out if this is a credible threat. What are the names? Once they found the names of students, the school is obviously going to be the one who provides law enforcement with the information on those students. So there's got to be clear channel of communication and line of response procedurally and logistically when it comes to threats against a school. It's just the unfortunate reality we live in. And I think with the climate today, and unfortunately the rise in these situations, I feel like no school is immune to both the actual event happening and the threat of these events through kids making stupid jokes, kids making inappropriate, poorly thought Instagram, social media posts. So it's so crucial, it's so critical for schools to have a response plan. And again, I credit our school for having developed that communication plan, developed those templates for lockdown, earthquake, I don't recall if there was one for active shooter or not, but I was a part of the process and the team to develop those communications, and we did one for every type of emergency drill and lockdowns. And the crazy thing is now I'm sure every school is going to need one for an active shooter situation too, which is vastly different from a lockdown. Calls for different responses, calls for different protocols and procedures, and definitely different communication.